Welcome back to the Kuhner Report. Hour 3, Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 8:05 here on the great WRKO and now on 93.7 HD2, 617-266-6868. Dramatic developments taking place in Nigeria, and it looks like U.S. military law enforcement personnel are going to be involved. Here is what's been going on. The United States has now put a bounty, a price, on the head of a ruthless Islamist leader in Nigeria. It is a $7 million bounty. The leader is Abu Bakar Sheikhu. Just call him Sheikh. Sheikh is the leader of Nigeria's Boko Haram. That is sort of like Ansar al-Sharia was in Libya. That is an Islamist, extremist, terrorist group, utterly brutal, utterly ruthless, anti-Semitic, Christophobic, hates Jews, hates Christians, despises moderate Muslims. They have been on a rampage across Nigeria. And just to show you how ruthless this group is, they have been deliberately targeting not just young girls, but even young boys. And the Sheikhu, the leader, is apparently a fearless loner. He's, by all accounts, an evil man, but a fascinating character. He appears to have a photographic memory. He hardly communicates even with his underlings. And by himself, he goes out on some of these bold terrorist attacks, or he coordinates these bold terrorist attacks in a very complex, coordinated way. And he has been rampaging and wreaking havoc all across Nigeria. In February of this year, this terrorist group, Boko Haram, these gunmen, stormed a secondary school in northeast Nigeria. They locked a boys' dormitory and set it on fire. It was a boys' school, they set it on fire. Those that desperately tried to flee the burning flames were shot down and gunned and slaughtered. The rest were burned alive. These were 9, 10, 11-year-old boys. According to the humanitarian group Open Doors International, they say the attack killed more than 40 young boys. In 2012, they launched a devastating, coordinated terrorist bombings on a UN office in Nigeria's capital, which killed 23 people and injured dozens more. Many of them, by the way, were Muslims. But their big group, the one that they really can't stand, are the Christians of Nigeria. And they have been going into village after village after village, burning the villages down, slaughtering the women, slaughtering the men, and kidnapping and abducting young girls. And so recently, 3 weeks ago, they went into a village in remote northeast Nigeria, and they abducted and kidnapped nearly 300 young Nigerian Christian girls. They deliberately targeted Christians. 53 managed to escape, but over 280 now remain hostage. Their fanatical leader, this animal, Sheikhu, the leader of Boko Haram, in a video with a Kalashnikov firing in the air, has now said he wants to sell the girls to their abductors, to these gunmen, members of Boko Haram, as basically slaves, as wives. $12 a head is the price for a bride, or they want to sell them in neighboring Chad and neighboring Cameroon. Slavery. They believe that they have the right to enslave young Christian girls. Many of them have now been raped, sexually molested, Many of them have now been sent off into these forced marriages. Many of them are essentially now slaves. The Nigerian government is trying to hunt them down. The dear leader has now agreed that he is going to be sending a group of U.S. military and law enforcement personnel, along with other members from the United Nations, to lead an attempt to rescue these girls, if they can, and to hunt down Boko Haram, and in particular, to kill their leader, this guy, Abu Bakr Sheku. So now, by the way, Boko Haram, just to show you how Islamist and fanatical, what a bunch of Muslim extremists we're dealing with, the name of the Islamic terror group, Boko Haram, loosely means, in Nigerian, quote, Western education is forbidden, quote, unquote. They want to impose Sharia law. They want to cleanse Nigeria of all of its Christians. They want to create a Islamist theocracy, a fundamentalist state, as part of a global caliphate. They are waging a holy war against Christians, against Jews, against the West, and against America. Very peaceful. Just look at the religion of peace. Just again, there he is, citing the Quran. He's apparently an imam. He claims to be a theologian, a theological religious expert on Islam. His fighters are all devout Muslim extremists. They're all devout Muslims. Just look at the religion of peace. Look how peaceful they are towards these little Christian girls. Look at the respect that they have for women's rights. Oh, it's incredible. No, it's incredible. You see, that's what I keep telling the liberals. Don't worry about the likes of these guys. Sarah Palin is your problem. The Tea Party is your problem. Mitt Romney. That's the real war on women. It's Mitt Romney. It's Jeff Kuhner. Because, women should pay for their own contraception. That's medieval. That's the war on women. But a real misogynist, a real bigot, a real racist, a real hater, a real terrorist. No, religion of peace, Jeff. This man is an animal, and I side completely with the Nigerian government in hunting every single one of them down like the dogs that they are and to kill them. The question, however, is this. Is this America's business? Are we the global cop? Are we the policeman of the world? And what I find remarkable, you want to talk about hypocrisy. When it came to our 4 men in Benghazi, Americans, diplomats, soldiers, CIA people serving our country, he didn't send a rescue team. He didn't send military or law enforcement personnel, even though they were just an hour away. In Nigeria, it's going to take a long time for our boys to get to Nigeria. So when it comes to Benghazi, what's Benghazi? Suddenly, no. Then the dear leader doesn't want to lift a finger. But now, when it comes to 280 some African girls, suddenly, we're the global police. Suddenly, send in the cavalry. Suddenly, send in the military assets. Suddenly, leave no stone unturned. Don't get me wrong. I believe radical Islam is a sickness. I believe it is profoundly evil. I have no illusions about it. I'm not a modern-day liberal. I don't put my head in the sand and pretend that it doesn't exist or it's not a real threat. But the question is this. Why do we have to solve all the world's problems? Where does it say in our Constitution, where is it engraved in stone, that I missed the 11th commandment, that somehow America has to do all the fighting and all the dying in every trouble spot in the world? We've now just committed to defend Japan against a potential military assault from China over 3 uninhabited islands. We're meddling our nose in Ukraine, which is erupting in war. We just came out of a long war in Iraq. We still have a war in Afghanistan. We're launching drone strikes in Pakistan, in Yemen, in countries all over the Middle East. We're arming Al-Qaeda in Syria. We've propped the Muslim Brotherhood onto Egypt. Now the Muslim Brotherhood's been overthrown. We're sticking our nose in almost every country in the world. And when you send in the military like this and law enforcement into Nigeria, what do you think is going to happen? Many moderate Muslims are going to see us, and they're going to say, these are imperialists. Here is Uncle Sam again, getting involved in a quarrel he doesn't understand, thousands of miles away, that is frankly none of our business. And the more we get involved in other countries, the more they hate us. And ironically, we're going to have more Islamists prop up, more Islamists spread, more Islamists proliferate. I'm watching Fox News. I got all the screens on. And they go, take back our girls, rescue our girls. In other words, they're all now for sending in the cowboys. They're now sending in the cavalry. With all due respect, they're not our girls. Believe me, I sympathize with them. I stand with the Christians of Nigeria and the moderate Muslims. But that is for the Nigerian government to take care of. That is for the people of Nigeria to take care of. That is their problem. Now, if they need weapons, I'm happy to sell them weapons. If they want certain aid to track them down, whatever it be, computers, satellites, I'll sell you the satellites, I'll sell you the computers, you need to track them, we'll help you. But no American should set foot on Nigerian soil. Our government is kidnapping girls here at home. Justina Pelletier, to name just one example. It's time that we learned to mind our own business. And so my question to you is this. Is it time for America to start focusing on problems here at home and stop meddling and intervening any time and every time there are pictures of dying or harassed people on CNN and Fox News? Should we be sending military law enforcement personnel as a rescue mission in Nigeria? I say it is imperialism. I say it is high-handed interventionism. I say it is more reckless folly on our part. What do you say, Boston? 617-266-6868 is the number. Do you support the dear leader sending a rescue mission of American personnel into Nigeria to rescue those kidnapped girls? 617-266-6868. All of your calls next. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report, 823 here on the great WRKO, 617-266-6868. Another intervention, this time in Africa. The dear leader wants to send law enforcement, military personnel to rescue nearly 300 girls, Christian girls, Nigerian girls abducted by Boko Haram, basically an Islamist terrorist group. Should we be sending in the cavalry? I say no. What do you say, Boston? Glenn, you're up first. Thanks for holding. Go.
Jeff, good morning.
Hey, Glenn.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
What's going on in Nigeria is absolutely disgusting. But my question to you is, because I saw it on the news yesterday, they showed the Nigerians with a tank behind them and maybe rocket launchers. I don't know what you'd call them, but who is supplying them with these high-tech weapons? That's my question. Where are these? Are they American-made? Russian-made? Where are they getting them from? That's what I would like to know.
Glenn, you mean the terror group, Boko Haram?
Yes.
Well, they're getting it from Iran. They're getting it from Syria. The Middle East is flooded with weapons. So, no, these are Islamists. And they want to create an Islamic fundamentalist Nigeria. And that's why they've been going village after village after village, literally butchering boys, butchering girls, raping women, killing women, and now abducting them and selling them into slavery. In fact, the leader released a videotape. Here's what he said. Quote, I abducted your girls. Well, first of all, he always shoots off his guns into the air after he kidnaps these girls, and he shouts, Allahu Akbar. Allah is great. No, it's Jeff. It's very peaceful. That means he's happy. When he just says Allahu Akbar, he's happy. That's all it means, Jeff. I abducted your girls, he said. By Allah, I will sell them in the marketplace. And basically, they're brides, they're slave brides. They sell at $12 a head. And they usually sell them off to the abductors, to members of this terror group, or they sell them to buyers in Cameroon and Chad. Now, by the way, slavery is not just prominent in Muslim countries in Nigeria. In a Muslim country, well, it's divided. It's Christian-Muslim. It's prominent in Muslim countries all across Africa and the Middle East. Slavery has been practiced by many Islamic countries going all the way back to the founding of Islam. So if we're going to go after this guy in Nigeria, we're going to have to go in a lot of other countries. And my question to the dear leader is this. You think this guy's just going to lay down and allow us to kill him? He's got an army. So what happens when they start killing our boys? 2, 3, 5, 7, 10. We're going to have to send in more military reinforcements. Then they start killing more of our guys. We start killing more of their guys. Then they start hiding out in the villages. Then we go after them in the villages. And before you know it, you have an insurgency. And we're now trapped we're bogged down in a guerrilla war. Let the Nigerians take care of this. Believe me, we have more than enough problems at home. 617-266-6868 is the number. Call me crazy. Maria, you're up next. Thanks for holding and welcome.
Hi. Thank you very much for taking my call, and thank you for the work you do.
Oh, thank you, Maria.
I do feel that there are times when something is going on that is so morally repugnant that the United States and what it stands for does have to take a stand. And I feel that we have the men and women in the military who are willing to do that. And I agree with you. We do not want to be the world's police. But this is just so horrific. And I don't think just the United States, but everyone should be reacting to this. So I just want to make that point.
Maria, look, I can't disagree with you in many ways. It's disgusting. It's horrific. Really, my heart bleeds when I see this. My question is this. What if they start shooting back? And they will shoot back. And then our boys start getting killed. And they know that terrain extremely well, especially northeast Nigeria. It's prime territory to run a guerrilla war. And then we get 5 dead, and then we have 10 dead, and then we have 15 dead. It's not going to be clinical. It's not come in, shoot them, rescue the girls, and come out. So many of them have already been sold into Cameroon and Chad. Many of them are spread out all over the place. So we get in, we get involved, and then we start dying. Then we'll have to send in more troops. And before you know it, I'm not saying it's going to be Vietnam. I don't want to exaggerate this. Mm-hmm. But we have ourselves a small war. And with all the problems that we have here at home, the last thing we need is another war.
Agreed. But, we were so critical of the apology tour. And yet, here we are faced with the results of an apology tour. And who are we as a country? Where do we draw a line? When we put those red lines in the sand, when do we step over them? And on this case, again, it's just so morally repugnant. We have to stand up in the world.
Thank you for that call, Maria. Very, very good, intelligent call. Thank you so much. 617, I don't agree, but you certainly made the case for the other side very well. 617-266-6868 is the number. To me, I believe our primary and only duty, ultimately, is to defend America's national interests. We can help the Nigerian government. We can sell them weapons. We can sell them technology. We can have them use our satellites to track them down. But I don't want to see American boots on the ground. My friends, I am done with interventions overseas. To me, Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan should have taught us. Stay away from foreign countries. Stay away from potential foreign wars. Steve, that's just my opinion. Steve, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on RKO. Welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi,
Jeff,
Steve.
Listen, I have to disagree with that woman because she's not sending any of her children. I love these people that call up and say we should go defend, and they are girls, and I understand there's a humanitarian thing, but what's going to happen, Jeff, is we're going to send special forces or the Navy SEALs or somebody over there, and our dear leader is going to tell them, don't shoot at nobody unless they shoot at you. You know, just like my nephew came back from Afghanistan, and he told me the stuff that they weren't allowed to shoot at people, even if they knew they were going to shoot at them. You know, so if you're going to tie their hands, I could see sending special ops over there to find this crazy guy and a bunch of his followers and kill them and get out of the country. Don't send troops, and go in there like the Russians do with all black, no flags from the United States. Just people, a hit squad, go in there and kill all these people and then come home. Don't go over there and try to be this big humanitarian thing. And like you said, they're going to drag us into another war. If we're going to do this, go in, kill these people, and get out.
Bingo. Now, you see, Steve, if that was the case, if we had a different president without putting all these stupid rules of engagement, these restrictive rules of engagement, I'd say yes. Send in a special operations team, Navy SEALs, whatever, the best of the best. Take this guy out, take the top leadership out, bang, 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 couple bullets to the head, take them out, and then the Nigerians can go collect the girls. Then I'm with you. But not with this guy. With this guy, you know what you're going to get. If they shoot back, you can't shoot at them because they're hiding in a village and we're going to kill civilians. And then before you know it, our guys are going to be bleeding one by one like in Afghanistan. And before you know it, we have a military quagmire on our hands. And then you know what he's going to say? Because it's a humanitarian, send in more troops. And you know what the debate's going to be? It's going to be over Nigeria. And he's going to get us into a war. And then we won't be talking about Obamacare. We won't be talking about Benghazi. We won't be talking about the IRS. We're going to be talking about Obama's war in Nigeria. And blacks in this country are going to rally around him like you wouldn't believe. And before you know it, Obama, within 3 weeks, is going to be calling his anti-war opponents racists. That's the script. You can already see it. Notice, Benghazi, he didn't lift a finger when it came to his fellow Americans. Now, for 300 strangers, I understand they're girls. Now you call in the cavalry? You should have done it in Benghazi, Mr. President. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report, 8:39 on AM 680 WRKO. 617-266-6868 is the number. Let's go to John Nostradamus. Hello,
Good
John.
morning. Good morning, Jeff. According to Wally Chubat, and I believe him, this is exactly who our dear leader is, the same as these kidnappers. Here's my prediction. He has purged our militaries of any high-ranking officials who oppose him. He has weakened our military in numbers. He has tied the existing military's hands behind their back. He's going to spread them so thin, then he's going to try a takeover, and there's no one here to fight him. Foreign troops will invade the land, and there will be a war of attrition. Try to have a good day.
Howard, thank you, John Nostradamus. Look at that. You see, we even have prophets on the show. It's a very scary future here, my friends. Whenever the dear leader wants to send any Americans abroad, honestly, I'm very skeptical. My first instinct is niet. Then I look at the details, the devil's in the details, as they say. I look at this. Where's the exit strategy? Okay, we send them in, but how do they get out? 617-266-6868. Should we be sending U.S. military law enforcement personnel to rescue kidnapped African Christian girls in Nigeria? I say no. What do you say, Boston? Jeffrey, you're up next. Thank you for holding and welcome.
Hi, this is actually Jesse.
If President Reagan were still in office, we would not have heard a thing about this operation until after it was complete. But since President Obama is in office, they want to get maximum political benefit. They want to spike the football. So now we've told the enemy that our boys are on the way. So Boko Haram now knows that we're coming, and let's see how this turns out.
Well, that's my fear, Jeffrey. That's my big fear. They know we're coming. They're ready that we're coming. This is a trained, highly trained, sophisticated group. They've been doing this for years. They know the terrain. They can hide. They can camouflage themselves. They're armed to the teeth. I mean, to the audience out there, you don't think they'd love to kill some Americans and parade them on video, behead them, do a Danny Pearl on them, and just slip them from ear to ear? They're waiting for us.
That makes them big players in the game, and seeing how President Obama deals with our enemies, he'll probably say, hey, we need to sit down with these guys at the table. We need to sit down as equals and work this out.
Thank you for that call, Jeffrey. 617-266-6868 is the number. Who do you want to go to next, Cooks? Tom, thank you for holding. You're on WRKO. Go ahead, Tom.
Jeff, thanks.
Hey, Tom.
I just want to go back to the Ronald Reagan days as well. Our best defense is to promote liberty, freedom, as Martin Levin said, God-given rights from our Creator. Promote that over and over. Educate people on the pathologies of communism and socialism. And then what we do is we empower millions, if not billions, to change, their governments and their structures without firing a shot. And we don't do that. So what's happening is all these crazy lunatics are springing up all over the place. Just point one. Point two, this is just a political stunt for Obama. He wouldn't even do this if it wasn't for an opportunity to get a good headline out of it.
Tom, I agree with you completely on both points. I would even add a little bit more to your second point. I think he's looking at the midterms, and he's got to get his base out. And he's been playing the race card. That's not working. War on women. That's not working. He's trying to fire up the young vote. That's not working. So now, let me send in troops into Nigeria so I can show African Americans in this country I'm helping Africans in Nigeria.
Exactly.
To me, it's all political.
All political. That's it.
Thank you for that call, Tom. Because if you're worried about slavery, it's happening in Muslim countries all over Africa, all over the Middle East. You're worried about girls getting kidnapped and sold into marriages? That happens all over the Middle East and all over Africa. So he needs a good little war so he can bolster himself going into the midterms. And if you oppose him on this, mark my words, they're going to come out and play the race card. But notice, it was okay that he didn't do anything on Benghazi. Benghazi. So when it comes to fellow Americans, don't make a scandal out of that. But to strangers, to now African Nigerians, African girls, now it's send in the cavalry. Then all of a sudden, we have all these assets available. It's incredible. Bill, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on WRKO. Shoot.
Good morning.
Hi, Bill.
I think the push is more coming from the public. The public is rightfully, revolted by this guy. So I think when you say it's all political, I think it's actually in response to sort of public outcry. And when you
Bill, where's the public outcry?
What, you're not repulsed by this video this guy posted the other day?
But it doesn't mean I want to send in our troops. That doesn't mean I want to send in our boys. I'm repulsed by a lot of things in the world, Bill.
Do you think we're powerless? There's nothing we can do about this?
It's not our business.
So, yes, you do think we're powerless.
No, it's not that we're powerless. We can definitely... Yeah, I mean, what do you want? You want to go to Darfur after? You want to go to South Sudan after? You want to go to... No, because, Bill, you don't understand. Syria, you want to go into Syria?
I want to root out this kidnapping criminal.
No, but here's the point. CNN decides... Yeah, so now we're the police. We're now the global police.
Well...
So what? Hold on. Then what? Then hold on. Then I'll tell you what happens. Because another one like him in Sudan. There's another one like him in Ethiopia. There's another one like him in Somalia. So CNN just has to prop up now in Abbottabad? And then we have to go to Somalia. And then if they prop up in Ethiopia, then we go to Ethiopia. Because suddenly you're revulsed by something you see on television.
I do think, I hate the feeling that we're powerless to do anything about this. And when you say these people in Nigeria are highly trained compared to who? Compared to the Navy SEALs? Compared to the FBI? I don't think so.
Well, I'll tell you this. The Taliban are killing a lot of our boys in Afghanistan. I'll tell you this. They bled us white in Iraq. I'll tell you this. When it came to Benghazi, they certainly killed a lot of our people. And your president wouldn't lift a finger for our boys.
I remember how hard it was to try to get Adid and how hard it was to get Noriega. So rooting out one guy is not an easy thing. It's hard as can be. So that's why I'm very torn about this. I hate feeling powerless, and at the same time, it's a hugely difficult task, and it might be the slippery slope that you're describing.
I'll solve your problem in a second, honestly. Sell the Nigerians the weapons and the firepower that they need. If they need our help with satellites, we can loan our satellites. Here are the images. That's where they are. Guys, you want to take them? Have at it.
Well, I think that's probably what they're talking about, is more technical assistance than... I don't think anybody's talking about sending in the Marines.
Well, not yet, but they're sending in military personnel. They're sending in advisors. They're sending law enforcement people. There's going to be a lot of American boots on the ground. And Vietnam started with boots on the ground. It started with advisors. And then and then they started getting popped off one by one. And then before you know it, advisors, you needed troops to support the advisors.
Remember the success of SEAL Team 6. In and out, killed one guy, and it worked smooth.
Yeah, and then what happened to the Navy SEALs in Afghanistan after that? They were then stabbed in the back. They were targeted, and how many of them were massacred by the Taliban? And our government's been covering that up now for a couple years.
Well,
so what I'm saying is
war is breaking stuff and killing people. So, and I agree. On one level, I agree with you that it's a slippery slope and there's danger in every way.
Let me just say this then to all the libs that back this intervention: you go. I mean, if you guys feel that strongly about it, you go. I'll give you a gun. You want a gun? No problem.
I'm too old, sorry to say.
So send Harry Reid's son then. I mean, Harry's for it, so send Rory. He's a young man.
Well, I think everybody who's for it, everybody not for it. When you say for it, like, I feel like we should do something. I hate feeling that we're powerless.
Why? Why do we have to do something? Bill, we're the only country that does this.
What?
We're the only country that says this. But we have to do something. Why? Stuff goes on in the world all the time. The world is a very nasty place.
Because we have to we have to lead by example. We have to stand up for our own thing.
Well then, okay,
criminal kidnappers.
All right, Bill.
Thugs,
forget this guy. Okay, forget this guy in the three. I don't mean to seem insensitive, but if you want something much worse, look at North Korea. By the millions, you want to go to North Korea, Bill?
Certainly not.
Well, Bill, what's the difference? I swear, I'm more outraged by what happens in North Korea than what's happening in Nigeria.
Yeah, but see, in Nigeria, I think this is this one guy, and if we could swat him like a bug, which I think is
he's got an army. Bill, it's not just one guy running around in the jungle in Nigeria. This guy's not some Islamic Rambo.
It's one guy who's on YouTube thumbing his nose at us.
Well, he's the guy, the face, but he's got a whole army behind him. And they've been burning villages and fighting Nigerian troops for years. Hey, ask the Nigerians. You know why the Nigerians want us to come in? Because they're afraid of this guy. They want us to do their dirty work for them. You see, that's how the world always suckers us. Please come, please help, please help. And then what happens after a couple years when we're there and we're doing the fighting and the dying? Yankee, go home. And before you know it, there are more Islamic terrorists after than before we came in. Have we learned nothing from Iraq? How many more terrorists were created because of Iraq? So we want to repeat the same thing in Nigeria. 617-266-6868, but I'm the extremist. All of your calls next. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report, 8:57 on the great WRKO. This is from 617. The text machine, I'm burning up over this. 680. Jeff, mankind is our business. Help those girls. However, give them the tools to help themselves. Nigeria is a disgrace as a nation. God help those poor children. This is from 978. Jeff, the bottom line is that Obama did nothing to save American lives in Africa, so sending in the cavalry to save Native Africans shouldn't even be considered. This is from a different 978. Jeff, why don't you read more texts on the air? I just did, 978. Alan, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on RKO, and welcome, sir.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Alan.
Hey, there's a good chance we already have special forces over there. This is rather ironic, but in October of 2011, the dear leader sent 100 special forces into Uganda. Apparently there was a Christian militia that had risen up, and we're doing a good job of fighting the Muslim terrorists that were terrorizing the nation of Uganda. So the dear leader sent in 100 special forces to destroy that Christian militia. It was called the Lord's Resistance Army, and they dubbed them as terrorists. So he sent 100 special forces in there to hunt them down and kill them because, like I said, apparently they were doing such a good job of destroying Muslim terrorists. So it would be rather ironic if he totally ignored these young ladies due to the fact that he has already made the effort to send special forces into Africa on a previous occasion.
And Alan, we see how well Uganda is doing today.
I know.
So successful, that intervention. Oh, Uganda's doing great. Cooks, can I squeeze in one more call? All right, Brenda, I got a minute. Go.
Hi, God bless you. Martin Luther King had a saying, he who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetuate it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it is really cooperating with it. We have so much in this country. We have terrorist camps in this country with the Islam ideology. And it really frightens me between that and Common Core and everything else. We should be helping our own in this country.
Bingo. It's time to put America first. My friends, coming up next, she's back. Monica Lewinsky. We'll have that discussion. 9 o'clock on RKO. Let's take it to Angela in the newsroom. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report, Hour 4. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 9:05 here on AM 680 WRKO, and now on 93.7 HD2. 617-266-6868 is the number. She's back. Oh, boy, is she back. Monica Lewinsky, basically in exile for about the last, I'd say, decade, 14, 15 years, over a decade. She has been in a kind of self-imposed exile, has now broken her long-held silence. She has penned an essay in Vanity Fair, which will be coming out on May 8th. That's and we've got tomorrow. But we've been getting some early copies of what she's published, her essay. She's now 40 years of age. She says she's bitter about her experiences with Bill Clinton. She regrets it. It destroyed her life. As she puts it, she was possibly the first person whose global humiliation was driven by the internet. She says that she deeply regrets what happened between her and Bubba, the zipper-in-chief. It's her fault. She takes full responsibility. She goes on to write that it was a consensual relationship, their affair that they had when she was a young 22-year-old intern in the White House, that she insists adamantly on this point, that this was a consensual relationship. However, she does believe that her boss took advantage of her, you think, and that she became a pawn used by supporters of the Clinton administration, used by Hillary Clinton, used by people in the White House, as well as the critics and opponents of President Clinton, to basically go after one another. And she said she became the butt of jokes. To this day, she's the butt of jokes. She said that she's personally extremely humiliated, devastated by what happened. She confesses in the essay that there are several moments in her life that she's actually thought of committing suicide. She never acted out on it. She never was in the act of committing suicide, but she said she thought about it seriously several times in her life. She claims that she's had a hard time getting a job, that finding employment has been extremely difficult because of her, quote, history, end quote. She says that's what all of her employers or prospective employers tell her. And so basically, she's been aimlessly wandering, living in London, living in New York, a brief time out on the West Coast, spending some time in Portland, Oregon. And basically, she says her life has been derailed and in some ways destroyed by what happened between her and Bubba. There's one line, however, that I think will haunt Hillary Clinton and keep this issue alive, I believe, for the next couple of years, which is when she talks about Hillary's response, which came out in the correspondence that she had with Diane Blair, whereby Hillary referred to Monica Lewinsky as a, quote, narcissistic Looney Tune, whereby Hillary Clinton, in her correspondence to her friend Diane Blair, admitted that maybe she was partially responsible, that she had withheld emotionally from the president. I guess she wasn't satisfying him in the bedroom. And so she felt partly responsible for why Bubba needed to be sleeping around with all of these women. And so to Monica Lewinsky, Hillary is blaming the woman. This supposed champion of women is in fact blaming the woman. She's blaming Monica Lewinsky, calling her a narcissistic Looney Tune. She's taking her husband essentially off the hook. She's even blaming herself, according to Monica Lewinsky. Hillary's blaming herself and blaming Monica, but she's not really blaming Bubba. Now, and so it's a long essay. She talks about what her goals are. She wants to help people who have suicidal thoughts, who have been humiliated on the internet. She wants to do some charitable work for them. So she says that maybe by helping other people who've been humiliated in the public spotlight, maybe there'll be some kind of a purpose to everything that she went through with Bubba and in the aftermath. Now, I got to tell you the truth. This to me is the writing and ravings of someone who is self-absorbed, of someone who is the other woman. And I never understand women who get involved in affairs with married men. It rarely works out well. It rarely turns out good for you. You're going to lose them like you got them, as Brittany tells me. And so here you have a president of the United States who completely took advantage, a sexual predator in the White House, we now know that, who assaulted Kathleen Willey, who had a long-standing affair with Jennifer Flowers and then trashed her and smeared her in public, who sexually assaulted Paula Jones, who allegedly raped Juanita Broderick, who assaulted and abused countless untold women, a serial sexual predator, who took advantage of this young intern. And what I find amazing is you have all of these liberals to this day defending an accused rapist and a known philanderer and sexual predator. And what is even to me even more amazing, they keep saying, but Jeff, it was consensual. I don't care if it was consensual. Look, I remember, I'll never forget this. I was teaching at McGill then. I was then 29 years of age when this scandal just consumed the national, international media. And I remember I had students that were 21, 22 years of age. They were juniors and seniors. I was 29. I was just 7 or 8 years older. Never mind being 50. He was old enough to be her father. Never mind being the most powerful person in the world, the President of the United States. Never mind engaging in sexual acts in the White House when she's underneath his desk as he's doing Bosnia policy on the phone. I swear to you. The first argument I would make to all these Clinton defenders is, since when did the White House become a motel? That's the people's house. That's our house. His act, in and of itself, forget the perjury, subornation of perjury, obstruction of justice, forget all the other crimes that he committed. Just the simple act of having an affair, a sexual act, in the White House, our house defiled our democracy, defiled our republic. The White House is not a bordello. It's not a whorehouse. It's not a brothel. On that alone, he should have been forced out of office. There should have been a unison cry from the American people. Instead, the feminists defended him at all costs. To this day, they defend him at all costs, and they defend Hillary, who openly supported Bill Clinton's campaign to smear and libel Monica Lewinsky. In fact, all the women that Bill Clinton slept with, it was Hillary Clinton who took over that portfolio. She led the charge, the response from the White House, referring to all of these women as, quote, her words, quote, nuts and sluts, unquote. This guy's going around having sex with woman after woman, assaulting woman after woman, allegedly in one case, and I believe her, raping a woman. And this supposed feminist icon defends her husband and not the women, the victims? This supposed feminist icon refers to them as nuts and sluts, quote unquote? Basically saying they asked for it, they deserved it. She was his enabler every step of the way. She's no feminist. She's the anti-feminist. You want to talk about a war on women? Literally, the Clintons, Bubba and Madam Hillary, are the epitome of the war on, an actual real war on women. And so I'm there at McGill, and I'm looking at these students, and because you're thinking about what's going on in the White House, it's consuming all the news. I'm 29 years of age. I'm a young professor. I'm in a classroom. There are 21, 22-year-old students, many of them women, juniors and seniors. And I'm lecturing on American history. And I look at them. Forget being the president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world. And everything that comes out of my mouth, every fact, every interpretation, everything I say, they're faithfully writing down, furiously taking notes. And I see them with their big eyes and their little wholesome cheeks and their developing brains. And I'm thinking to myself, basically, it comes out of my mouth and it goes on their page. Because I'm in a position of authority. I'm their professor. They trust me. They believe in me. What kind of a sick individual would take advantage of this 22, 21-year-old women, these students? And I was only 29. And I know people are saying, oh, ho, hey, they're so attractive, Jeff. Ho, 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 I could have had a good time. No, the disparity in power as a young professor was so obvious to me. We're on different levels. Professionally, psychologically, emotionally. I would be taking advantage of them. It's so obvious. Never mind being the most powerful person in the world. What this man did was honestly unconscionable. It was sick. And that Hillary Clinton helped him to cover all this up and then to smear and libel them every step of the way? Rand Paul has been excoriated and demonized and criticized by the media relentlessly for saying and bringing up Monica Lewinsky and all of Bubba's sex scandals, saying he's rehashing the past. It's going to backfire with women voters. No. I commend him for his courage. Because by bringing up Monica Lewinsky, by bringing up that notorious sex scandal, and all the other women that the Clintons have preyed upon, and that they have destroyed and smeared in the media, he's the only one that has the guts to demonstrate and prove conclusively Hillary Clinton doesn't give a damn about women. when her husband used them and threw them away like a piece of garbage, when her husband assaulted them repeatedly, when her husband even allegedly raped one of them, she put together the team to go after those, quote, nuts and sluts. If Hillary Clinton is elected again, and Clinton is brought back into the White House, you now have Bubba and Hillary back in the White House. It's going to be World War III on more bimbos, on more women, and on more interns. The White House will be turned again into one massive bordello and whorehouse. And so my question to you is this. Do you think Monica Lewinsky's latest revelations, her latest piece in Vanity Fair, will it damage Hillary Clinton? Should it damage Hillary Clinton? Do you now see her as a sympathetic figure? 617-266-6868 is the number. Do you sympathize with Monica or do you not sympathize with Monica? 919 on WRKO. All of your calls next. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report. Monica Lewinsky bears pretty much all. Well, not all, but close to all. In her upcoming essay in Vanity Fair, she talks about her feelings, her mistreatment by the Clintons, how she was demonized by the media, how she felt in many ways insulted by Hillary's comments, referring to her as a narcissistic Looney Tune. My question to you is this. A, do you care that Monica Lewinsky is back? Do you think it will hurt Hillary? Do you think it should hurt Hillary? 617-266-6868 is the number. The texts are pouring in. This is from 202. Jeff, this is the first time I really feel sorry for Monica Lewinsky. Really? Okay. Everyone does crazy and regrettable things in their youth, but it is not then written in every paper around the world. She behaved horribly, but she was young and stupid, like so many Americans, yet now she has this black mark. Ironically, there is more sympathy for Bill Clinton, Bubba the Predator, than for her. That's a very good point, 202. Have you noticed he's now like an international superstar? He's like a celebrity. This guy went through women the way I go through cheeseburgers. And somehow, after all of this is said and done, she's the hero for women. She's this champion of women's rights. And so is Bubba. Even though personally they destroyed the lives of countless women. Only liberals can turn black into white and white into black. 617-266-6868 is the number. Tom, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Jeff Kuhner, 680 RKO. That's red, white, and blue dynamite, baby.
Thank you so much, Tom. What's on your mind, buddy?
Hey, Jeff.
At this point, what difference does it make?
Jeff, there's three things I want Hillary to do, and none of them include stay out of the White House. The first thing is keep getting your $200,000 a speech. Keep your marriage open. Keep yourself busy. Keep Bill busy. And the third thing is, Chelsea, you know, humanitarian needs in the United States are very beneath the lefties. They like to do things in Africa, like Billy getting $50 billion of our money on Georgia's way out the door. Well, Chelsea's working on a diarrhea project in Africa. Can we find a beautiful mother-daughter home where Hillary could live in Africa with Chelsea, and they can work together on the diarrhea project? What do you think, Jeff?
Thank you for that call, Tom. In fact, what they're doing is they want to get Chelsea into politics. I swear to you, now they want her. They actually think that maybe she could also be a very strong political leader in the future. You see, they want to turn it into a family business. And I got to tell you, I thought Howie hit it on the nail yesterday. It's so obvious. The Clintons never had a marriage. That thing is a joke. It was a business relationship. It's a contract. It was basically a business between the two of them, a partnership in power. I defend you, you defend me. Frankly, I won't sleep with you, you won't sleep with me. So as long as we contain these, what she called, quote, bimbo eruptions, unquote, then what do we care? You get to the White House, then I get to the White House. And how many women we destroy? Hey, you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet. Lucy, you're up next. That's literally their thinking.
Good
Lucy,
morning.
you're up next.
Good morning. I actually do feel sorry for her. And one of the things about me was I used to be a very left-wing, radical-type person. The way that episode happened and what was going on during that time is what led me to leave the Democrat Party because of its duplicity towards women and become an independent.
And Lucy, now why in particular? Was it Bill's philandering, his womanizing?
It was the way women's lib and Hillary and everyone treated him as though he was like this innocent poor victim, and the women's libbers did not stand up for the women that he was abusing. That's when I really, really began to turn. And now I can't understand how I believed everything before that, hook, line, and sinker.
Thank you so much for that call, Lucy. 617-266-6868. Let me ask the women this in particular, okay, to the females out there. If you were married to a man, look, marriages have their problems. No marriage is perfect. No one's a saint. I understand. I'm not talking about your husband having an affair, whatever the reasons were, and you patch things up. I'm not talking about that. You have a husband like Bill Clinton. He sees a woman, he pulls a zipper down. She doesn't perform what he wants her to perform, like Paula Jones, he gets her fired. He sees a woman in the White House like Kathleen Willey. According to Kathleen Willey, he grabs her by the throat, slams her against the wall with the Palestinian delegation right next door, and literally forces himself to have sex with her. He goes after women, affair after affair. Basically, he's compulsive. He is a compulsive sexual predator. Affair after affair, sexual assault after sexual assault. Juanita Broderick, he smashed her face in. He busted her lip, forced her on the ground, and then raped her while he was Attorney General in Arkansas, according to Juanita Broderick. Would you stand by him every step of the way? And more than that, proudly parade him as your husband and use his name and his power to launch off of for your own personal career. Brittany says you're weak. If you do that, you're weak. You're pathetic. She said to me, hell no, she'd never accept that from a man. To the women out there, what do you think of a woman who accepts that from her husband? Do you think that person should be in the White House? Because that's Hillary Clinton. 617-266-6868. I want to hear from all of you out there. If you were Hillary, would you have put up with the antics of Bill Clinton, of Bubba, the zipper in chief? And do you think Monica Lewinsky will haunt Hillary going into 2016? I want to hear from you, Boston. 929 on the great WRKO. 617-266-6868. Let's take it to Angela in the newsroom.
But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
He's so sincere. He's just such a sincere man. He's such an honest man. You can just tell in his voice. No, I did not have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. Not that with that woman. Never had sex with anybody. I'm a Christian man. I'm a good man. I'm a decent man. All I got eyes for is Hillary. Love Hillary. She's the apple in my eye. She's all I ever needed, all I ever wanted. This is part of a vast right-wing conspiracy. I mean, the zipper in chief, the liar in chief, and I look at both of them, honestly. Zero, no moral integrity whatsoever. And you really know what they are? I'll tell you, I swear, I'll give you the Clintons in a nutshell. They're trailer trash who somehow made it to the White House. They're former hippies too. That's right, Brittany. Basically, they went from the trailer to the White House. 617-266-6868 is the number. Anne-Marie, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on RKO, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. First time I've called your show, and it's a pleasure.
Oh, welcome. Welcome, Anne-Marie.
Thank you. What I want to say is you basically just said it. Take a look at Hillary. Take a look at Bill. They're no good. They're filth. But what gets me is I remember this situation happening and watching them leave the White House for the Cape, I believe, on vacation. And I looked at that woman and thought, if that were my husband, I would be running. And I would tell the American people, I cannot stand beside this man because he is deceitful, he's a liar, he should have been in jail. But she didn't. The reason she didn't, she had bigger things on her mind. She wants that White House.
Bingo.
She's going to do what she wants to do. He's a liar. She's a liar. I look at the Americans that have been killed in Benghazi, and here's a challenge to you women out there. Look into your daughter's eyes. Think of them as being Monica Lewinsky. How would you feel?
Excellent call. Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. 617-266-6868 is the number. Ken, you're up next on RKO. Shoot.
What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Ken.
So, I'm looking at this whole thing over the last 30 years. This is, for the people who preach diversity and celebrate everything and tolerance for all, the ideological bigotry that is shown, it's really about, they'll throw women under the bus. They'll throw Clarence Thomas under the bus because he made a borderline inappropriate joke because he was, he had feelings for Anita Hill, right? That's against the law. So he was a gentleman pretty much, but they rolled him under the bus because of his conservatism. Alberto Gonzalez, a Latino, nope, gotta get rid of him, he's a conservative. And really, it's amazing when you watch this, how many women came forward and were rejected because Bill Clinton carried the torch for liberalism and progressive movements. The ideological bigotry in this country eclipses racism and all other forms of bigotry right now, and we have to engage.
Ken, I couldn't have said it better. I really believe there is genuine racism. It's against conservatives, it's against Christians, it's against normal, everyday Americans, and increasingly, sadly, against Jews. But look, what other group is demonized as teabaggers? By the liberal mainstream media on a daily basis. What other political group are called suicide bombers? They don't even call Muslim extremists suicide bombers. Hostage takers. I could go on. The whole list. Right-wing extremists. Now, think about this. The very same people who backed the Clintons, who back them to this day, said Clarence Thomas was not fit to be in the Supreme Court because he made a joke once to Anita Hill about pubic hair on a Coke can. I swear to you. By the way, he took another job. He was then working his way up to the judicial chain. She followed him from job to job to job after he made that comment. So I'm thinking, well, how discriminatory could he have been? How much of a harasser he could have been? She's following from job to job. But they said that one comment alone, just that comment. He never touched her. He never put his zipper down in front of her. He never propositioned her. He never assaulted her. He never raped her. Pubic hair on a Coke can. Ha, ha, ha. And to try to discredit him, I swear to you, I followed those hearings almost by the minute. They tried to go back to when he was an undergraduate in university, 19 years of age. And they asked him at 1920, part of that club that you were with, that fraternity, did you guys actually watch a pornographic film? Because if you watched a pornographic film when you were 19 or 20, you watched a porno, you're not fit now to be on the Supreme Court. Forget watching a porno. Forget pubic hair on a Coke can. This guy was assaulting women left, right, and center, and then he destroyed them. And he said, have sex with me or you lose your job. Every single feminist walked the plank for this guy. And who helped them destroy all of these women? Their lives, their professional careers, their reputations. Madam Hillary. And these very same liberals and Democrats have the nerve, the cheek, the face to accuse Republicans and conservatives of a so-called war on women? Are you kidding me? As one texter put it, Bubba is a one-man, Clinton is a one-man war on women. The guy, literally by himself, he is the war on women. And his commandant, his assistant, is none other than Madam Hillary. Peggy, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on WRKO. Welcome.
Oh, God help us. Thanks for informing us of the cesspool we're living in today. Bubba and Hillary are two repulsive people. And I'll tell you what I feel. They're going to have a child this summer. I don't feel that grandchild's going to be healthy. And those two will be crying for all the sins they've caused for the living and the dead. And I feel for that poor grandchild, but I don't think it's going to be a healthy kid. And they'll both look at each other and say, where did we go wrong? You went wrong for the last 25 years. I'll tell you, my father told us, when you get married, it's for life. It's not for a weekend. And make sure you pick the right partner. And I'm one of 8 children. I'm the last one home. I took care of them royally. I never married, but I had beautiful men in my life. But I'll tell you, what a world we're living in today. A bunch of pansies in Washington, not afraid to stand up to fight for anything. And thank you for your beautiful show.
Thank you so much, Peggy.
You're welcome.
Thank
Bye,
you
honey.
very much. Yeah, no, look, call me crazy, but I'm married for love. To me, I'm a one-woman kind of guy. And I got to tell you, one of the things I love most about my wife, Grace, is her incredible integrity and character. If I did, I swear to you, God is my witness, 1/1000th of what Bill Clinton did. Take the affair with Jennifer Flowers. I'm out the door. Now, once you get into sexual assault, like Kathleen Willey or Juanita Broderick, I swear, my worry would be I'm sleeping in bed and all of a sudden there's this angry little short Italian woman, that's my wife, with a shotgun in my face. You did what? Honey, no. Think of our vows. Honey, please, don't pull the trigger. Instead, there's Hillary. I respect my husband. I love my husband. This is all part of a vast right-wing conspiracy. Remember, by the time she was done, he's the victim. I'm thinking, let me get this straight. He's raping and assaulting women? And he's the victim in all this? Sean, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on RKO. Go ahead.
Kuhner, man, thanks for having me. Great show.
Thank you, Sean.
Humor me for a minute. I mean, God forbid Hillary ever makes it into the White House, but can you imagine if she ever does? Bill's going to have more time than he did the last time he was there. It's going to turn into Clinton. You know what I mean? 18 to 21-year-olds only. It's a scary thought, my friend.
Sean, they should move the Playboy Mansion. They should move the Playboy Mansion from wherever Hugh Hefner has it in California. I'd say move it to Washington. If Bubba's moved it right into the White House. Hell, right into the Lincoln bedroom. He can have his own little harem. 617-266-6868. Do you sympathize with Monica Lewinsky? Do you think she will haunt Hillary? I want to hear from you, Boston. All of your calls next. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report, 9:54 on the great WRKO. 617-266-6868 is the number. Do you feel sorry for Monica Lewinsky? Do you think, now that she's come out and attacked Hillary for blaming the woman in all this, her and, of course, even herself to some degree, do you think this is going to hurt Hillary going into 2016? And I've got to ask this question, especially to the women in the audience and to liberal women out there. If your husband treated you the way Bubba treated Hillary and did everything what he did to other women, would you have stayed married to him? Would you have defended him? would you have stood by his side the way she has for all of these years? 617-266-6868. We got a couple of free lines. Jimmy, you're up next. Thanks for holding, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. I got a kick out of people like Peggy. You know, she's no nonsense. And that Ken's right on. We have to tell our representatives to take off the gloves. You know, and I support that. You're right. I mean, I do feel bad for Monica. You know, I remember, you know, the Distinguished Sunday Morning talk shows, how the liberal media and their renowned pundits like James Carville says dismissively, you know, that's what you get when you drag $100 through a trash park about these allegations from these women, you know. And lately, like, talk about coming out. You know, they're so delirious over these two athletes coming out. You know, these women should be supporting her, you know.
I'm with you, Jimmy.
All right, bye, Jeff.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. And notice the hypocrisy. Okay, notice this. Notice when Rush Limbaugh called Sandra Fluck a, quote, slut. Ooh, advertisers had to flee. He was a male chauvinist pig. They wanted him to lose his show. But Hillary refers to all of these women, most of whom Clinton assaulted or raped, allegedly. Nuts and sluts. They want to give her the White House. Connie, you're up next. You're on WRKO, and welcome, Connie.
Oh, hi, Jeff. Good to speak to you, dear.
Thanks so much for calling.
I'm glad you brought up Monica Lewinsky. I saw her on the TV this morning talking to Barbara Walters, and I was in bed and I fell back to sleep. You think this is pay time back for her?
Pay time back for how? Oh, you mean for everything that was done to her?
Yeah, for Hillary, the Clintons.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think she wants to get him back. She wants to say, you know what? You guys took me to the woodshed. You humiliated me. You spit on me. Well, you know what? As the Russians say, revenge is a dish best served cold. Teresa, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on RKO. Welcome.
Hi, I don't feel sorry for Monica at all. I feel sorry for the people that were forgotten in this whole thing. Linda Tripp, who is used by Monica. What does the other woman do? Runs her mouth so that it will get out. But when it got out, Linda Tripp was no good, a fat pig, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, Monica had part to do with that, too.
John, you're up next. I got a minute. Go.
Two things, quickly. I think that the reason why Hillary stayed with Bubba is because it got her into politics. She's got a shot at the White House. That was the deal. That's why she stayed with him.
Basically, it was almost a deal with the devil. Can I squeeze in one more, Cooks? Kathleen, I got about 45 seconds. Go.
Yes, Jeff, I got to tell you something quick to get an insight on Hillary and Bubba. Read the book written by his mother called, and it's a very small book, Leading with My Heart.
Kathleen, he led with a different organ. Let's just leave it at that.
News at the top and bottom, talk in between.
Wow, that's an interesting new take on this.
This is AM 680 WRKO, Boston.